Hey Fragcom, it's great to see you all. I'm very excited to tell you all about my spring designer list for 2022. Stick around. Hope you guys are having a great day. Welcome to my channel, Kristen Rocks Frags. My name is Kristen and it's time to talk fragrances. If this is your first time checking out my channel, please be sure to like and share this video and don't forget to subscribe. So I'm a little bit long overdue. We're getting close to the end of spring, so I was kind of pushing it a little bit because the collection keeps growing, so you keep adding things. But we're getting close, we got about a month or so of spring left, almost 2 months, month and a half. And so I thought I'd better start, put my list together, but watch, next week it'll change, right? The journey's never ending. So I apologize about the lawnmower, so don't mind that. It's always busy here. Okay, so I'll start with an honorable mention first, and then we'll work our way back up. And I guess I would say it's going to more, my favorites, especially within the top 3 and such. But, it's hard to choose, right? Especially, depending on what mood you're in. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. So for my honorable mention, I decided to go with Wild Mint by Azzaro. And if there are any mint lovers out there like myself, I think you will definitely enjoy this one. It's fun because the mint in this, it kind of goes into a little bit of a gourmand territory. It's a very simple note breakdown. You got mint, patchouli, and calypsone, which gives it kind of like a fruity element, which you can definitely detect in this. I'd say the best way to describe this one is those Andes chocolates that you have after a meal when you go out to a restaurant with the little green wrappers on them. That kind of reminds me of this. The patchouli in this kind of has a chocolatey feel to it, combined with that mint. It's really yummy. It's just a fun, yummy scent, and it's really good. So it was hard, to pick. It's like I forget to grab it, but then when I do, it's really good. So I think I do have ones that I do prefer more. So he didn't quite make the cut, but I do really enjoy him. So if you haven't, definitely check out Wild Mint by Azzaro. Sorry, this is the Azzaro Port Homme Wild Mint, just to clarify. So for number 10, I'm going with a really popular one from last year, Elixir, Sauvage Elixir by Dior. This little guy right here. And he is quite the powerhouse, this one. Yeah, he's really good. So manly and masculine and aromatic. You get a lot of cinnamon here, which I love. I think I prefer this one over the original Sauvage, actually, because it's really smoothly blended. And that spiciness of the cinnamon really just makes this one really sexy and alluring. And of course you get a lot of lavender, so it's very aromatic and crisp and delicious. It gets kind of earthy, a little bit sweet in the dry down with the licorice and the sandalwood. You get some amber in there too, but I'd say that lavender, the spices of the nutmeg and cardamom and the cinnamon. You get a little bit of a brightness from the grapefruit, a little bit of a juiciness to it. But this is just really, really sexy. This kind of reminds me of Apex a little bit by Roja. I feel like they're kind of in a similar world. So if you like that scent, definitely try this. Even though it's probably the other way around. If you liked this, I'm sure you probably would like Apex. But yeah, really good. So that's number 10, Sauvage Elixir by Dior. So for number 9, I went with something that I don't know if it's really talked about that much, but this is a vintage, but I'm really enjoying this one. It's called Monsieur Carven by Carven. And this is a splash bottle, so I had to make a decan of it. But this is one of those ones that it's really hard to pick the notes out because it's just got a whole page of notes. But this one's very old school and vintage. You know how like some of them might be a little less, some of them might be more timeless than others. As much as I enjoy this one, this is kind of a little bit more dated, so you gotta really enjoy those old school scents. This one's hard to describe. You definitely get aldehydes in here. It is kind of floral. I get some citrus out of it, but I'd say it's kind of floral but in a very masculine way. It is kind of animalic because you get civet in the dry down, but it's still green with oak moss. A little bit of a sweetness from the coconut and vanilla, but it gets kind of creamy as it dries down and earthy with the sandalwood and patchouli. Yeah, this one's a hard one to describe, but it's very nice. It's definitely got the old school thing. Like when you first spray it on, it comes off like a little bit bitter and harsh, so I can't tell if maybe it might be going a little bit, you know what I mean, because it is an older scent. But I like how it dries down. Honestly, I never smelled this before. This was a blind, so I'm not quite sure if that's really just how the scent starts, where it comes off maybe a little bit sharp and harsh, but it smooths out as it dries down and it gets really nice. There's leather in here, which keeps it kind of a little bit sexy and alluring, but really good. If you're a vintage person, definitely give this one a try. I think it's nice on a slightly cooler day, so maybe earlier spring, but really nice. All right, for number 8, we are coming in with a Tom Ford, and that is Beau de Jour by Tom Ford. So this is the newer version. I do have the older one, but I'm really liking this one. I think this is more for spring. I'm thinking my older version is better for really cold weather because that one has a lot more patchouli going on than this, I think. But this has a ton of lavender, so you really gotta like that barbershop lavender going on. And then it gets very herbal in the heart. You get some mint, which you can pick up a little bit, especially with the mint and geranium together, but you get a lot of oak moss. But I find mostly that the lavender, because the lavender's in the top notes twice, you got lavender extract and lavender together. So it's just lavender overload. So you gotta make sure you like that. But it gets kind of earthy and sweet with the patchouli and amber in the dry down. But it's really smooth, really nice, just really sexy. This is super masculine, very genuinely, but I don't care. I still love to wear, you know me, I love scents like this. They're just so classic. And this one definitely comes off in more of a modern take. So if you thought like, you know, Monsieur Carven might be too dated, if you have tried that one, this is definitely a great, you know, modern alternative to go with. This is definitely, like I said, that more barbershop kind of manly, yummy lavender. It's just really good. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have tried it, but if you haven't, definitely try it. Like I said, I think this version lends a little better to the spring weather, especially as it, you know, warms up. So maybe like 50s, 60s. Once I think it gets, you know, in June, this might not, you know. So for number 7, I went with a brand new release by Drakkar. I still have to do a full review on this one actually. So it's a 2022 release by Drakkar, and it is none other than Drakkar Intense. And I must say, I'm really enjoying this one. I've been wearing this a few times already, which for me is saying a lot. I tend to not wear the same thing close together, you know, but this one I've worn a couple times pretty close together. So this, I think, is great for an early spring day. Maybe even kind of a rainy day, I think. It was pretty rainy in April. It's kind of gloomy a lot of the days in April. So I think this was perfect for that. So this is very sexy and alluring. So you know how like the original Drakkar was very soapy and bright and clean and crisp? This is your evening one here. This is the sexy date night version. And So you definitely get lavender in here. It has wormwood, which is a new note for me. I'm wondering if that's what gives it kind of a little bit more of a darker, kind of warmer feel, perhaps. You get juniper, so it still has that crispness, like the original. It's definitely green with the oak moss. You definitely get an earthy patchouli in here, but it's not dominating, which I'm happy. I'm kind of sensitive to patchouli. I'm kind of picky about it, so it's a nice, patchouli. This is really, really yummy. I'm liking this one. So definitely check this one out, and it does perform really well too. So yeah, I'll stick around for a full review. I gotta do this one next because this is really, really good. But if you guys enjoyed Drakkar, the original one, this is definitely worth trying. I really think this is worth having both. It does its own thing, and it's really sexy and yummy. And like I said, this is like your sexy date night, evening, maybe even more formal Drakkar, while the other one is kind of more bright daytime wear, crisp. That one makes you think of going into the office in the morning or something, ready to, greet the day, that kind of thing. And then, yeah, so you got both tools right there. So, Drakkar Intense by Drakkar. Okay, for number 6, I decided to go with one that, again, I don't know if it's one that a lot of people talk about. My friend turned me on to this one, actually. So this is another old school kind of scent, and I'm talking about Bowling Green by Jeffrey Bean. See that 5 times fast. So this one, I really like this one. So my friend gave me a decan of this one, and I really enjoyed this one. So I finally got a bottle not too long ago. But this is super bright and green and crisp. It kind of reminds me of freshly cut grass, actually. So we just got a big giant Bowling Green out there. And yep, so this is really good. So you get lemon verbena in the heart. I think that's what gives it this really crisp, zesty, bright, uplifting feel. Like this one is so bright and crisp, like when you first spray it, it's a little bit like, whoa, it almost kind of makes you pucker a little bit. But it's just so good. You get a ton of oak moss, and the dry down, you get fir. This is another of those ones where it has a ton of notes, so it's kind of hard to pick out, the ones that stand out the most. But yeah, like the pine needles you kind of get. The juniper, because the juniper berries, right, it kind of gives it like a sharpness, but I love juniper berries. It really makes sense, kind of crisp and almost like a little bit metallic, but in a good way. You get some spices in here, definitely a lot of herbs. You get some woods in here. It's just really yummy. You get citruses at the top. It's just really, really sexy. And well, I don't know if I'd call this sexy. I like green scents, so to me it kind of is. But I don't know if this is one you'd pick up a girl on a date or something, or a man. It's really, really good. I really was craving something very green with that cut grass feel. My friend told me I would definitely like this, and he definitely had my number on it because it's just so good. So if you haven't tried this, I definitely recommend it. It's not crazy expensive either, which is cool. So Bowling Green by Jeffrey Bean for number 6. Okay, you guys ready for number 5? This one I'm really excited. I just got this one last week, so I haven't really got to give it a full wearing, but I sprayed my hand and went nuts over it, so I had to put it on here because I will be wearing it now, especially now it's warming up. So I went with Sung Pour Homme. Oh man, or by Alfred Sung, sorry. And I managed to find like an old batch, so you could really see that really deep dark purple in there. Deep purple. I love this stuff. This immediately makes you think of a yummy Irish Spring soap. It's just so crisp and clean. I love this. Once again, it's one of those scents with a ton of notes in it. I've been going for those scents, as you can tell. Oh, it's so good. So this has a lot of juniper berries. So it's got that kind of crisp sharpness that I love. It's got aldehydes. Definitely green with fir and oak moss. You got some florals in here, pine needles again. I seem to be liking that. you know, so like the top, it's kind of citrusy and spicy. You get some pepper in here, basil, I could see that. I've been enjoying carnation. A lot of these scents that I've been choosing have carnation in them. And I like how it's kind of like a masculine floral. You know me, I'm not really a floral person, but the way a lot of those vintage scents use carnation, it's just a really nice, enjoyable way, you know, to apply a floral. I really enjoy it. Oh, this is so good. I can't wait to wear this. So this is gonna be huge because I sprayed this thing with I sprayed my hand with it like that afternoon. The next morning I could still smell this on my hand. It was crazy. So this is definitely gonna be a really beastly fresh scent, which is like, that's so rare. It's awesome. So even if you get the newer one, I think you'll enjoy it. It's just so good. I've been, Jay Copeland, you know, Justin, he always spoke very highly of this one. My friend Max Forty showed me his, and he is an older batch, and I fell in love with it. I was like, I have to buy a bottle of my own. So I think I had him cracking up, because by the next day I was like, ooh, I found one I'm gonna get, you know. So, right, the journey just never ends. So definitely give this a try. Number 5, Sung Homme, even though this will probably be higher if I had this longer. So definitely check this one out. So for number 4, I went with the Cartier. This one's kind of a tongue twister to say. This one is called Pasha de Cartier Fraîcheur Menthe by Cartier. So say that 5 times fast. So I ended up finding this online. I think on eBay I found it, and I got a great deal on it. The bottle's a little bit ugly. It looks like it got trashed a little bit, but it smells really good. I'm wearing this today, actually. So here, look at the notes a little bit here. I don't know how people memorize the notes on these old school scents. Oh, I love this one. So again, if you guys enjoy mint, you gotta try this one. This is so good. So Max 40 introduced me to this as well. I never even heard of this one. I only thought the Parfum was out there in the original, of course. So this is really good. Let me see when this came out. So this came out in '99. So yeah, I was still a young one when this came out. Oh man, I love this one. So like I said, you get a ton of mint here. You get your lavender, you get oak moss. So really, I gotta get the original. From what I remember when I smelled the original, it kind of reminded me of Beau, Jour actually. But this really amps up like that minty, crisp feel. So you get, you know, some patchouli in there, so it's like a little bit earthy. You get some woods in here, labdanum. You get sandalwood, which I don't really notice as much. I still think this is pretty crisp. It doesn't really get too creamy. Here, you know, I'll just spray this one since I'm wearing it anyway. Oh, I love this. Decent spray, too. Oh, yeah. So, like, when it opens up, it almost comes off, like, that earthiness comes off pretty quickly because of the patchouli. But, oh, yes. Ooh, that mint. I love it. Oh, man, that's so good. I love this stuff. I think the opening is the most exciting. But, oh, that mint. I think I'm eating it a little bit. But oh yeah, it's super green with the oak moss, and you get like a little bit of a sweet citrus from the mandarin orange, but not really. It's more manly and robust with that patchouli and the lavender, oak moss, and mint. But oh yeah, if you have the original Pasha and you enjoy that, you gotta search for this. There were a bunch available, so it was, you know, not too rare. Watch now, it will be. I'm giving it away. So definitely pick up a bottle because this is really good. I really enjoy this one. So number 4, oh, I can't remember. It's such a long name. I just call it Pasha Menthe, but Pasha de Cartier Fraîcheur Menthe by Cartier. So we are ready for the top 3. Here we go. So this one was actually from last year's spring list because I love it so much, so he's back on. And that is Jules by Dior. And I just really enjoy this one. I have a vintage too. I've been trying it. I have a bad habit of that. So I just been kind of wearing the new one, but I really need to give the vintage wearing to and compare. But oh, I love this stuff. It puts a smile on my face. It's for like a masculine, old school kind of scent. This one is pretty floral, but it's green. With the oak moss, you get a lot of leather in here, which I like. It's kind of musky in the dry down. You get fur. You get some lavender, but I wouldn't say that's a star player. But it's kind of floral, like you get rose and carnation. It's just really, really good. I love this one. So you definitely gotta try it. It's just, it is kind of old school. You kind of have to have a little bit more of a mature nose for this one. I don't know if I see someone in their 20s wearing it, unless they really like that kind of style. So I don't know if this would be a crowd pleaser or not, but I just really like it. It's just, it's just something about it. You put it on and you just feel so good, you know, it just makes you happy. And oh, it's yummy. It's like a little bit sexy with that lavender. I'm sorry, with the leather. I love how leather, it just rounds off the scent and makes it kind of warm and round. It's hard to explain, but I really like it. It's so good. So if you haven't, definitely try Jules by Dior. Definitely one of my favorites. So that's number 3. Okay, for number 2, I went with a brand new release by Ralph Lauren, and that is Polo Earth by Ralph Lauren. I actually just did a recent review, so definitely check it out. I could put it in the link below if you guys haven't seen it yet, but I really enjoy this one. Oh, this is so good. It's just so happy. It really smells like spring in a bottle. Totally unisex. It's kind of citrusy. You get some nice florals, but it still stays right in the middle there. You get some woods and like a bit of an earthy, musky feel with the vetiver and the musk. And I really enjoy this. I get like a neroli going on for sure. I feel like that dominates. So this one's kind of hard with the notes. I think I even said in the review. So on Fragrantica, it looks like there's a lot of notes going on, but if you go to the Ralph Lauren website, they only give you a couple, so I'm not sure. It smells like there's a lot more going on than what they say. I definitely smell neroli in here, even though that's not listed on the website. I agree with Fragrantica there. But I love this. You get there's mint in here. But yeah, you get like really nice florals that are just, you get rose, you get orange blossom, and I just really enjoy this, and this performs very well. So I think this is, you could even get away with this on a cooler spring day if you want to, but I think this is definitely more for the warmer spring days. So I'm definitely going to be wearing this in the summer too, so this is probably going to overlap this guy. So number 2, Polo Earth by Ralph Lauren. So you guys ready for number 1? What do you think it could be? This was a hard one to choose because I found so many good ones lately. But this one I just picked up a couple weeks ago, and I only got to wear it once so far, but I love it. It's just so yummy and sexy. So here we go. Vintage, he's turning around. Vintage Allure Homme by Chanel. So this is a hard one because this is an old batch code, like before they even use the new system that they have now. I think it's like 4-digit code or something like that, and this is like an AL1 or something like that. Yep, AL1. So it's gotta be old. It's a splash bottle too, so I have a nice deep 30 ml of that. This is so good. So I think I told you this story before, but when I was a kid, I fell in love with Allure when I was around 12. I remember my guitar teacher had it, and I just went nuts over it every time he wore it. It was just so good. I remember finally I asked him what he was wearing, and I was like, I have to get one of these. So kind of cool. Years later, when I got into the fragrance groups and stuff, I ended up finding it, I think in 2009. So I still have that one, and I'll probably wear that one more and start trying to save this one. But yeah, we just found this one. Oh my god. Oh, it's deeper and a little bit richer than the newer one, but I still love my new one too, my newer one. because that one lasts really long too, and it's pretty beastly, but I think this is even kind of deeper and richer. But I don't know if this one projects as big as that one, which is interesting. So, I don't know. But really sexy, like this one just really comes off yummy. But I love both of my versions, so even if you can find like a new one, it's still yummy, you know? I love this profile. It's just so good. It's got citruses at the top, you get peach, and fruit, sorry. So you get peach and lemon, get some ginger in here. But I think maybe it's that pepper that I really like. This does come off kind of spicy. And it's funny, I always think there's cinnamon in here, even though that's not listed. But oh yeah, you get some nice vanilla and tonka beans, so it's kind of sweet as the dry down progresses. It gets kind of creamy with the sandalwood and a little bit sweet and musky with the amber and the musk. Oh, I really love this one. It's just so good. Oh yeah, this is definitely going to be one of my babies. So, but if you can find Allure at all, I mean, definitely search for an older one. But I think Allure is just awesome. It's just so good. I love Chanel overall. I think that's one of my favorite designers. They're just really good. So, yep, that's number 1. Allure Homme by Chanel. So, what do you guys think of my list? Have you guys tried any of them? What are you guys wearing this spring? Definitely let me know below. What are some of your favorites that you've been reaching for? And if you want to try any of these and you want to sample them, definitely check out our website, perfume.com, where we have many different size decants to choose from. And make sure to use my KRF12 coupon code on your checkout. And thank you so much for joining me. It's always great to see you. And I hope you have a wonderful day of smelling good. Thank you.